The Isley Brothers, a Father's Day celebration with Angela Wimbush. The Isley Brothers that will be performing at the Aretha Franklin Amphitheater in Detroit. Sunday, June 16th, the doors open at 7 p.m. and the show is at 8 p.m. That's right, the Isley Brothers and Angela Wimbush will be performing together. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my Father's Day episode. And we're talking about the Isley Brothers and we're talking about Angela Wimbush. That's right. You want to stick around for this one. I promise you, this one is going to be good. But then again, all the episodes are good. Let's talk. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to my channel, my show, Pepe's Point of View, and I am your host, your R&B historian, Pepe. And today we're talking about the Isley Brothers. Yes, that's right. We're talking about Angela Wimbush. In my Father's Day episode, I am so excited to be talking about the Isley Brothers. Once again, that's right. Whenever I get the opportunity to talk about Angela Wimbush at all over here on this show, you know that I'm going to do it because she is the total package. She is my favorite of all R&B divas. That's right, Angela Wimbush, the R&B diva who have all of the gold and platinum plaques and the number one hits. That's right. And well, we're going to talk about her today, but actually, we're going to really talk about the Isley Brothers. So get the Isley Brothers on the phone. That's right. We're talking about them and get Ronald Isley on the phone, get Ernie Isley on the phone. That's right. Get Chris Jasper on the phone. We're talking about the Isley Brothers. That's right. Get Angela Wimbush on the phone. We're talking about the Isley Brothers. That's right. Oh gosh, let me sit back because I am about to get excited again and I want to stay focused because I am going to talk about the Isley Brothers in a way in which I've never talked about them before. Yes, I have a lot of videos over here covering the Isley Brothers and Angela Wimbush, but again, I always try to do it from a different angle. And before I go any further, I want to, acknowledge some former members of the Isley Brothers. That will be O'Kelly Isley Jr., who's no longer with us, Marvin Isley, who's no longer with us, Vernon Isley, who passed at a young age, and Rudolph Isley as well, who uh, has recently passed. Right, I think it was probably maybe last year. I think Rudolph Isley passed. I don't even think it's been a year. Has it? No, I don't think it's been a year yet that Rudolph Isley passed. But anyway, so we're definitely acknowledging them. Also, too, there's an individual that I found out about. His name is Everett Collins. He performed with the Isley Brothers, and I'm trying to remember exactly what did Everett do. He wasn't a drummer, was it? I think he probably was a drummer, but he definitely wrote some songs for the Isley Brothers. I know one song he wrote was on the Smooth Sailing album that was released in 1987. Everett Collins, and the song was called "Somebody I Used to Know." Also, he wrote some songs for someone, other R&B divas, and so on and so forth. But I'm trying to stay focused. So, because I found out that he also passed this year, I just want to give a shout out to Everett Collins as well. As I said, I think Everett. I want to say he was a drummer. I don't know why I want to say that, but definitely a musician for the Isley brothers for quite some time. All right, but let's go ahead on and jump right into talking about the Isley brothers. All right, let's get focused. When I saw this a flyer of the Isley brothers and Angela Winbush, I was like, oh my gosh, they're performing together again. And we all know, if you don't know by now, they have been separated for, oh gosh, over 20 years, right? I think it was what, maybe somewhere around 2001, 2002 that their marriage cooled off. They went their separate ways, and then after they went their separate ways, Angela, battling what she battled with her, let's just say her sickness, right? Her cancer is now, in remission. So she went through what she went through with that. And then as she, her cancer went into remission, then of course, that Ron Isley, somewhere around that time, he also, of course, went to jail for, I'm going to say, alleged tax evasion. So then he went through what he went through. And then after that, they kind of still, kind of went their separate ways for the most part. But then all of a sudden, one day, I remember I looked up and saw a flyer, and there it was. Angela Winbush was actually performing again with Ron Isley. And I know at that moment in time, because it was early 2000, and I know a lot of people was like, "What?" I know at least I was, but Angela, pretty much said at that moment in time, she was like, "Hey, as far as Ron going through what he was going through, uh, oh, thank you. Like I said, I need to get my thoughts together. Ron had well, I don't want to say it was either a heart attack or a stroke. I can't remember one of the two, but he also had his sickness as well. And so I recall Angela saying, well, when you're battling, with your health and so on and so forth, I don't think, I should be your enemy, so on and so forth. So, of course, for those who don't know, Angela, went and assisted Ronald, in helping him, get his life back on track as far as dealing with the sickness, so on and so forth. It is what it is, blah, blah, blah. And then after that, you look up, Angela Winbush is kind of no longer in the picture again. And that's when Ronald, married his now wife. Um, he ended up getting married again. And then it kind of like, went their separate ways, so to speak, but again, Angela being there for Ron, in, his time of need as well. Whew, let me stay focused because I guess I wasn't going to talk about this, but I'm gonna let this one flow. So you guys stick around because we're going to really talk about some things. But this is really about the Isley brothers, but it also is a Father's Day edition. And since this is a Father's Day edition, I also want you guys to understand that all of this is incorporated in this episode. That's why I'm so excited to be, covering this particular um, um, I guess, topic for Father's Day. So, anywho, so there we have it. Angela, as I said, went her separate ways again, but I actually follow Angela on Facebook as well as Instagram. I follow her. And one thing that I can say about her as it relates to, let's just say, family and friends and all of that, Angela has definitely been a part of the Isley brothers family as far as her and there's certain things I don't want to talk about as far as, let's just say, the Isley children. Ronald Isley, of course, had previous children before they married, so she has continued, to be a part of Ronald's children's lives, and then the grandchildren. She's been a part of their lives. As a matter of fact, Angela, I think she may have now been married, has been remarried now for about maybe 2 years now. And there were some snippets at the time of some videos going around with, of course, Angela's wedding. It looks as if, Tia, no, not Tia. Tia is Tia Isley, I believe, is Ronald's daughter. What is Ernie's daughter name? Oh gosh, she sings. Oh gosh, see, I really try not to focus too much on certain things, but I know that Ernie has a daughter, Alexandra. That's it. Is it Alexandra? Okay, yes, she's a singer. So Alexandra Isley. I believe she's the one that was at the wedding. I remember seeing her in a snippet somewhere around in that wedding. So she was definitely at the wedding. And so it seems as if, as I said before, Angela is pretty much close, still close with the Isley brothers' children, Arnie's daughter, so on and so forth, grandchildren, all of that. She has always, been a part of that. She always, is posting, about the accomplishments of, I would call them her grandchildren. Uh, she's posting about their accomplishments, so on and so forth. She does that on her social media page. And so it is what it is. And so I guess basically what I'm saying is that, again, when Angela went through what she went through, she came out. I remember her saying, I'm steam rolling ahead, something like that. I'm moving ahead. I'm coming out like Tina Turner number two. You know, she's coming out. Basically, she's better. She's not bitter. All right, and having said all of that, pretty much she has shown up every now and then on an Isley Brothers bill. And, here again, she has been, a part of that show. Now, here's the thing. I have never, ever been to an Isley Brothers concert. I have not. I have, of course, I try to see, if you follow me over here, then you already know that I try to show up at an Angela Winbush show at least once a year. I am so thankful and appreciative, and I say this all the time whenever I talk about her, is that I don't have to go far to see her, because at least once a year, and sometimes twice a year, she's going to show up around my neck of the woods. And so that's why I'm always excited that, I don't have to go too far to see her, since she is my favorite R&B diva. Now, she did show up in the beginning of this year. Of course, I did not make that show. I was like, I don't feel like doing anything, and so on and so forth. So I did make that show. It's still in the middle of the year, and I have yet, for her to see if she's going to show up again somewhere near around me. Usually it's kind of like, maybe 2 hours, maybe three, hours away from me, but that's still a good time for me. I mean, it's nothing for me to, go out and, like I said, see her. She always have a great show. She performs well. I love it. Something though I've noticed about Angela here lately. I don't know if anybody else paid attention to it, and I think it's probably because she's getting older, and she's probably don't want to perform in certain attire. But I noticed that she has gotten rid of those heels. Angela Winbush, she is not performing in high heels often any longer. And it is what it is. I'm sorry. I don't mean to objectify, my divas, but at the same time, sometimes I'm looking like, I was like, okay, she's not in heels, she's not performing in them, but it still is going to be a great show, and so it is what it is. But back to the Isley brothers. And I thank you guys for those of you who have still continued to stick around with me. As I said, we're talking about the Isley brothers. It's my Father's Day edition. And since, this here, the Isley brothers and the Father's Day celebration with Angela Wimbush, I think it's really and truly a great topic because we're talking about Father's Day. We're talking about, extended family. We're talking about, oh gosh, uh, you know, marriage, divorce, married again. It's like you're thinking like, oh, okay, you're talking about people who, have been through some things personally and professionally, and yet somehow or another they still maintain a sense of, hey, okay, it's business. You know what I'm saying? It's business, it's family, it is what it is. We could, be at odds, with each other, but hey, it is what it is. I moved on, water on the bridge, forgiveness, grace, mercy, whatever you want to call it. It is what it is. But I will say this before I continue to move further. And then, we're going to talk about the Isley brothers because I really want you guys to get my spill on the Isley brothers. All right. So I want you to stick around. But I will say this is just me personally now, from a professional standpoint, from a music standpoint. When I noticed that it seems like Angela was still kind of around, the Isley brother family, so to speak, whenever Ronald would come out, excuse me, sorry, well, let's just say Ronald or the Isley brothers would come out with a new project. It's no need me lying to you guys. I always was saying like, I wonder what Angela, be on this project. If they are still, kind of showing up on the same, bill, concert ticket, bill or whatever. If they're showing up like this, then I was like, hey, Angela definitely could produce at least one song or write a song. Not necessarily, she has to produce it, but I think it would be great, if Angela, writing skills shows up on a Isley Brother project, because she still knows, the Isley Brothers. You understand what I'm saying? So, it is what it is, We don't have to go any further into that. Am I missing anything else in particular that I want to just talk about for before we get into what I want to talk about? Is there anything else? I don't think so. So again, as I said, it is what it is. We're going to talk about the Isley brothers now. So now, I've always told you guys I like to do it differently. Like I have a different take on things. And when I saw this flyer come up and talked about what I thought in my head, what I just talked about uh, to you all, right? Or with you all, I am thinking like, oh gosh, this would be great to cover. And I actually thought I was not going to cover this. I really did, because when I wanted to cover it, like maybe like a week ago, and I just couldn't get focused. I was like, okay, I got a lot of irons in the fire myself. I really want to do this video justice. So I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I really want to talk about this right now. But, I decided I was like, okay, I have some time right now, some free time. So let me just kind of get, focus, get my head right to talk to you guys about, the Isley brothers in the way in which I wanted to talk about them today. Now, let's go right into the Isley brothers, okay? Let's go right into the Isley brothers. All right. So, when we talk about the Isley brothers, whenever you hear of the Isley brothers, when you see or hear Ron and Ernie, in an interview, whenever you speak with Ronald Isley or anyone maybe pertaining to the Isley brothers, there's a lot of things that stand out. Okay. And I don't want to talk about those things that stand out because I want to go from a different angle, but I will talk to you guys about briefly mention the things that people talk about when it comes to the Isley brothers. Uh, 50 plus years in the business, right? 50 years. 50. Let that sit into your head for a minute or rest in your head, right? 50 years in the business. They've been around, all right? Longevity. So, if my numbers are right, sometimes I don't always hit the bullseye, but I will hit around it. They have 31 studio albums, 4 live albums, 15 compilation albums, 111 singles, and as it relates to other albums, so on and so forth, they probably have a couple of other albums that, have been released, so on and so forth, but that's what you have, all right? The Isley brothers. Okay. Now, what else do we know about the Isley brothers? Okay. Well, they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1992, right? In 1997, they were inducted into the Hollywood's Rock Walk, and in 2003, they were inducted into the Vocal Group Hall of Fame. All right. As far as Grammys are concerned, they have been the recipient rather of 2 Grammy Awards. One for their song "It's Your Thing." It was Best R&B Vocal Performance by a Duo or a Group. Then they received the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award in 2014. Their songs, Contagious, Busted, and the album Body Kiss has also been nominated for Grammys. So at this moment in time, the way it stands, it looks as if the Isley brothers have, let's just say, been nominated. Well, they have 5 Grammy Award nominations, and they've won 2 out of the 5. Then, of course, as I said, the Grammy Hall of Fame, 1999, the song "Shout" was inducted into the Hall of Fame. In 2010, the song "Twist and Shout" was inducted into the Hall of Fame. All right, I wasn't trying to go down this route, but since I'm going down this route, um, let's continue. Ronald Isley and Ernie Isley are now the 2 current members in the Isley brothers. Former members consisted of Vernon Isley, Rudolph Isley, O'Kelly Isley Jr., Marvin Isley, and Chris Jasper. All right. Now, Rudolph Isley is the was is well, let's just say married Chris Jasper sister Elaine Isley. Oh, excuse me, Elaine Jasper Isley. All right, some of this stuff I'm trying to remember at the top of my head, so excuse me if I kind of have to, if it seems like I'm stumbling over things. Some of these things I'm trying to remember. All right, well, anywho, so now when you hear of the Isley brothers, as I said before, we are always talking about the Isley brother as it relates to that 50 plus years in the business and everything that I just said, right? Now, someone else would probably mention the Isley brothers and they would say, oh, the Isley brothers, they are responsible for, the population, right? Because of these love songs that they're known for, like, For the Love of You, uh, uh, Groove with You, Between the Sheets, Footsteps in the Dark, Make Me Say It Again, Girl, Voyage to the Atlantis. Oh my gosh, Smooth Sailing, Spend the Night. Oh my gosh, the list of songs that have come out of the Isley Brothers catalog. I mean, it's too many to name, but people always focus on them for that 50-year plus years in the business. Ronald would probably say, in each of those decades, they've been number one in each decade. He would say that. What else would Ronald probably say? We've had people like who? I think it was Jimi Hendrix. I think Hendrix has been associated with the Isley Brothers. As far as some of his vocal phrasing, I believe someone mentioned that, or was it? What's that guy name? Oh gosh, it's coming at the top of my head. Oh gosh, um, what is his name? Tutti Frutti, Little Richard. Yeah, so Little Richard, certain vocal phrasing that Ronald Isley does, he has, said he, learned a little bit of, got a little bit of that from Little Richard. I remember years ago. Now I could be wrong, but I remember years ago. I think Ron mentioned that he, liked Clyde McFadder. He, liked those that him as a particular singer, so on and so forth. Uh, but here's the thing, though. What I want to focus on the Isley brothers is that when it came into the mid 1990s, in the mid 1990s, R. Kelly stepped into the picture. All right, and so most of us, a lot of us, will probably say, you know what, it's the Mr. Biggs character. Ron Isley. We know him from the Mr. Biggs character. Uh, and then, his music has been sampled by all who's who in the entertainment industry. Notorious B.I.G., as well as other artists. And another big name artist would be Whitney Houston. For the Love of You. And I would definitely have to agree with Ernie Isley. I believe it was Ernie Isley who said one of his favorite remakes of out of all of the remakes of the Isley Brothers was Whitney Houston. And you know what, Ernie, I would definitely have to agree with you on that one. I think that her interpretation of For the Love of You was right on the money. She definitely, did the Whitney Houston thing on that album. I mean, on that song. So there you have it. But I want to, and I'm gonna chop this up. So I want you guys to understand what I'm about to do here. And now that I'm at the 30, reaching the 30-minute mark, and for those of you who are sticking around with me, I definitely appreciate you guys for doing that. Thank you guys so much. So what I am doing right now is I'm taking bits and pieces of certain things that I want to talk about that no one never really talks about when it comes to the Isley brothers, because I think that the Isley brothers also is a very controversial group, all right? And people don't talk about the Isley brothers, being controversial, just a tidbit, I guess you could say. Uh, and I also want to talk about their albums. Some of their albums, as you can see right now, this album, the Isley Brothers Smooth Selling album, that's right here in front of you. I'm going to talk about that album. So I can, right now, what I'm going to do in this particular part, as I'm approaching the 30-minute mark, is tell you what I am going to talk about with you guys. So we're going to be talking about the Smooth Selling album, just a little bit, not a lot. Then we're going to go over and we're going to talk about of course, the Spend the Night album. We're going to talk about the Tracks of Life album. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Mission to Please album. And we're going to talk about the Eternal album. All right. So there you have it. Now, if you see, I mean, if you paid attention to these albums, if you really paid attention to these albums, then you would probably already go and say, okay, what do these albums have in common? You're right. They have Angela Winbush in common, right? So we're going to definitely be talking about Angela Winbush as well. All right, let's do it. If you're stuck around with me at this moment in time, I want to say thank you guys so much. Go ahead on. I think it's appropriate to ask you guys to hit the like button, the share button, and leave a comment, or two, and tell me what you guys think about the Isley brothers. But at this moment in time, what I want to do is I want to talk about a particular member of the Isley brothers, and that would be Chris Jasper. Now, when it comes to Chris Jasper, I would say this is just me personally. If you go and listen to any of Chris Jasper's solo music, if you listen to it, you can definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, it is what it is. Say how you feel about it. It's an opinion. I think we can all handle opinions here. But at this moment in time, I'm just going to put up that old allegedly, because now we're about to get into the nit and the grit of a lot of things and, a lot of opinions. It is what it is. Whew. If you listen to Chris Jasper's music, then you would know that he is the Isley Brothers sound that we know when we call it, I believe we call it the gold and platinum years of the Isley Brothers. That year in which, they really and truly had a lot of success. You know, when Ernie and Marvin joined the group, right? So that would be what I think it's 73. Is it 73? I think it's 73. I could be wrong, but I think it's 1973 when the Isley, when Chris Jasper, right? When Chris Jasper and Ernie and all of them joined the group, right? I think so. Because that's the 3 Plus 3 album, right? And so that's when they joined the group. So we're going to say from 1973 all the way up to 1983. We could call it, and some people would beg to differ, but I guess you could call it the gold and platinum years. And anyway, so that's when Chris Jasper and Ernie Isley joined the group. Yeah, I'm going to say that. Now, here's the thing with that. I think that Chris Jasper is the sound. That's just my opinion. Looking at what his solo material, right? I do. I agree with that. Now, if you go and listen to Ernie Isley's album, his solo album, I have it by the way, High Wire. If you listen to Ernie Isley's album in 1990, it was released on Electra Records. I would like to think that Ernie Isley contributed a lot of the writing. So I will say this is just my opinion, it's not a fact, that Ernie Isley and Chris Jasper, that sound, the two of them coming together created that Isley Brothers sound from 1973 to 1983. My opinion. I'm not saying no one contributed anything to any of those albums outside of those two, but it is what it is. All right. So I recall Chris Jasper saying once that the Ron Isley that we know, the Ron Isley we know, he was, I guess it's safe to say, kind of unsure of himself as a singer. All right. It is what it is. And what I mean by that is we if we're willing to stop for a minute and say, hold on for a second. This probably is true in that we're talking about people who are entertainers, who are performers, actors, whatever you want to call it. So there might be some things that people are trying to pull out of an individual, and maybe they have you got to work with them a little bit, right? And so that's the reason why I'm willing to say that it possibly is true that maybe Ronald was not the the dude, if you will. And what I mean by the dude, I'm talking about, he didn't come off as confident. And so my first question, if I had the Isley Brothers in front of me, right, and they're on my show, get them, call them up, let them know I'm talking about them over here, and they're on my show. So if they were right here in front of me, as far as on my show, I would ask them based off that. I would say, well, Ronald, what is there a song? Has there ever been a song where you was like, oh no, I am not going to sing that, right? I don't think anyone has ever asked Ron Isley that question, right? I don't. I haven't, read a lot of interviews or watched a lot of interviews with the Isley brothers. Uh, but when I have not asked, I have not. No one has ever asked them that. So that would be the first thing, right? Is there a song that was presented and you was like, nah, I'm not going to sing that song? And I think it's possible that that's where Chris Jasper was coming from, right? Like, I'm not quite sure about that. But now another thing too that I'm thinking about it, Ronald would also says that, hey, we had our ear to the ground. We always had our ear to the ground, listening to what was out, what was hot at the time. It's definitely, if you think about it, I think in my head, Ron is definitely a person who was saying, you know what, hey, I know that there's competition out there. There's a lot that I have to compete with, and therefore, you know what, I'm a competitor, and I don't mind competing. I don't mind having to, show up and show out, so to speak, and put competitors at bay. Now, and it just is what it is. Whew. So that would be the first question. Now, I say that because when you hear some of the Isley Brothers music, such as, songs I previously mentioned, like Between the Sheets and so on and so forth, you would think that, oh my gosh, like, you know, he wasn't confident singing that song. Is it a possibility that he wasn't, or could it have been earlier songs that Chris Jasper probably was referencing? But either way, he wasn't confident in singing certain songs. He sung them, but maybe he just wasn't quite sure, about that. But it is what it is. Which then it got me to thinking, I was like, man, if that's the case, then I thought about Fight the Power. And I'm saying to myself, like, fight the power, though. You know, it's Fight the Power. When I think about songs like Fight the Power, and I said to myself, I said, wait a minute. Ron Isley was not didn't have, wasn't confident about certain things. He wasn't, and if he wasn't, comfortable about, performing certain songs, or his approach to certain songs, I was like, but Fight the Power, that song has profanity in it. Right? For those of you who don't know, if you never really thought about it, Fight the Power has profanity in it. There's a word in it that, it's kind of like, did he say what I think he said? Did Ron Isley, what I'm saying, use a word that I don't believe he said it, but he said it. And I'm trying to think what. Hold on. Hold on. And I'm trying to think of what song, what album, uh, that song was on. I can't think of it. But anyway, let's talk about Fight the Power, okay? So Fight the Power. So it's on the Heat Is On album. That's right. It sure is. It's on the Heat Is On album, I think. So Fight the Power. Fight the Power, sometimes titled as Fight the Power Part 1 and Part 2, is a song recorded by the Isley Brothers, who released the song as the first single off of their landmark album, The Heat Is On. The song is notable for the usage of the word BS, which was censored during radio play. That's 1975. 1975, 1976. And that's the reason why I say, you know what, the Isley Brother is a tad bit controversial as well. Especially back, at that time, using profanity, so on and so forth. So I was saying to myself, I was like, wait a minute, he wasn't confident, Ron wasn't sure of himself. But at the same time, I thought about Fight the Power, and whenever I'm singing it, I realized that, you know what, he is definitely using profanity in that song. And that song was censored, right? And so I was like, well, what is going on with that? Well, the song was written almost fully by Ernie Isley, with additional instrumental background composition by the band's keyboardist, Chris Jasper. Now, this is not me saying it, this is sources saying it. And so that's the reason why I say, again, Ernie Isley and Chris Jasper Isley from 1973 to 1983, it is what it is. After playing the track on his guitar to his older brothers, Ronald, Rudy, and O'Kelly, The vocal trio cut a unison lead vocal track in one take. Ernie was taken aback that Ron had uttered BS. When asked why he said the word, Ron simply replied, because it needed to be said and it's what people want to hear. The song reflected a negative opinion of authority figures, a feeling shared by all the band members, which can explain the intensified vocalizing by Ron, Rudy, and Kelly. Later, the trio added in the background chant, Fight It, to merge with the brothers' vocal ad libbing near the end. Hmm. That's 1975. 1975. BS. The word is being used. Hmm. Why did I pause right here? I paused right here because of the year 1975. I'm thinking about the fact that it's on their label, T-Neck. I'm thinking about the, I guess, the freedom, because you're talking about the Isley Brothers having their own label at the time. And I'm pretty sure, I can only imagine it's 1975 and the Isley Brothers have their own label. And I would like to think that it was an artistic move, for sure. It was an artistic move that was needed. But I also would like to think that beyond it being an artistic move by the Isley Brothers, it was probably also a professional move as well. Wanted to be in control of, their career, their career direction, as well as other aspect of their career, probably personally and professionally. you know. And so that's why I say at that moment, at this moment in time, it has to be some controversy. It has to be the Isaac Brothers has to be a controversial group. Just on that alone. And then having some success in doing that. We're talking 1975. That's all I'm saying. And the reason why I keep saying 1975, we have to think about that's 10 years after uh well, let's just say we're talking about desegregation, right? Now I can remember my parents telling me, my grandmother telling me, that even in the 70s, in certain parts where they live, there were still some places that had their, white and black, um, what you want to call it, areas. That people still, they had a hard time trying to give up, uh, incorporating let's just say the newness, the new times, and so that's the reason why I'm thinking about, what is going on with the Isaac Brothers, the usage of the word BS. And I know some people are probably saying, wait a minute, you're really trying to stretch this word here. I'm not trying to stretch the word because it is what it is. The song, it was censored. Right? It's not me stretching it, it's the fact that it was censored. I'm not making this up. It was censored. Right? It was not allowed. And I'm not quite sure. Of course, I'm pretty sure the song was played, of course. But you better believe it was, people were aware of it. And I would like to think that at that moment in time, people probably gravitated towards that song as well for that reason alone, like, man, they're using profanity, in their song. Let's talk about another song that I wasn't necessarily going to talk about. Harvest for the World. Harvest for the World was a song that was released in 1976 off the album Harvest for the World. It's one of their socially conscious singles about world peace. The song was composed by Ernie Isley, who wrote most of the lyrics together with Marvin and Chris Jasper, with additional lyrics and musical arrangements added by the other three original members. The song was recorded the same day as Fight the Power and was originally intended to go on the Heat Is On album as the lead single, but Fight the Power ended up being the lead single by a group vote and was saved to go on the Harvest for the World LP. And on many Isley Brothers records, Rhonda sang lead on the song while the other brothers, O'Kelly and Rudolph, usually backed him up. Hmm. So there you have it. You have Fight the Power, and then if you think about it, go all the way up to the latter part of the 1980s. Uh, uh, Chuck D, Public Enemy. They had a song I called "Fight the Power" as well. I never looked at it and see if it was sampled by the Isley Brothers song. I'm pretty sure it was, but anywho, it is what it is. So we have Harvest for the World as well. So the Isley Brothers has definitely in their catalog have definitely tackled controversial things, right? But for whatever reason, and again, it's all about marketing and things like that, and what you want to put out. But as I said before, uh, we tend to think of the Isley brother as having longevity, in the business 50 plus years, contributed to, the population, so on and so forth. Uh, what have you, the Mr. Biggs character, him being sampled a lot by rappers and embraced by other by the rap community, by other singers, so on and so forth. But again, there is that component of the Isley Brothers that you just cannot miss. You know, Fight the Power and Harvest for the World. So my first question again to the Isley Brothers would be, hey Ron, is there a song? Is there a song out there that you were like, I'm not going to sing that, and you turned it down? Also, too, is there a song in your catalog that you probably said, nah, I don't know, I don't think this song should be a single, you know? Because you have to stop and you have to think about that. When you're going into, the studio recording and then you're getting ready to, release the record, you stop and you have to, play off, hey, what is going to be the lead single, right? So how do you choose that? So that would be another question that I would have from is there a song that you said, nah, I'm not going to sing it? And secondly, how do you choose your singles? When you're going into when you finish an album and you're ready to release it, what formula do you use, if there is one, for releasing, a single? Now, there is another aspect of the Isley Brothers that I want to touch base with, and we are pretty much at the 50-minute mark, and I am not even near, as close to being where I want to be with this. So I know I am definitely going over an hour with this, definitely, and I'm okay with that. So the other part of it that I want to talk to you guys about is how did I get into the Isley Brothers? Because for those of you all who do follow me, you know that as far as R&B divas are concerned. Angela Winbush is my favorite out of all R&B divas, like hands down. She's my favorite. So how did I get into the Isley Brothers? If you watched me or you've listened to me, then you already know the answer to this question, and I'm not going to go deep in with this at all. I'm just, there's no need. But I would say it this way. I remember my mother when I would go through her cassettes. I remember there being an Isley Brothers cassette, and it was a greatest hits cassette um, that she had, and I would just play it. I think it would be songs like I think "For the Love of You," I know for sure "Footsteps in the Dark," and as I would listen to this album, the first thing I would do is I say to myself, I'm like, why is it that these songs are part one and part two? I'm just a little kid, I'm just a little child, so I'm just, I'm listening to the music, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, why are these songs so long like this, as far as titles are concerned, and I would play them, and I like the Isley Brothers instantly upon hearing them as a child. And I would play it, but I think it's safe to say that everybody probably loved the Between the Sheets album. Now we're about to dive into some controversy. All right. All right. So I'm like I said, I'm trying to go into that direction. And okay, here we go. Now, when I would hear the song Between the Sheets, there were certain songs. Okay, let's just talk about this. If you're sticking around with me, I appreciate it so much that you're sticking around with me because now I'm about to go into, hey, adult content, so to speak. Now, I'm a child, okay? You have to understand, I'm a child. I'm a child. I'm a child, and my parents love their get togethers on a Friday. You can guarantee it. Friday has shown itself, and it's the weekend, baby. And I know for sure my household, for whatever reason, was the household that everybody said we are going over. Okay. I don't know why people chose to always come over to our house, but they did. And it was a Friday. And you best to believe that it was going to be a slow build, but it was going to happen. My aunts was going to show up. My uncles started to show up. Then my cousins started to show up. I'm talking about because my aunts and uncles who are showing up are bringing my cousins, right? So they're showing up. The house is getting packed real quick. Okay. And the kids are outside, playing, running back and forth in the house. Your parents, they are at the table playing cards. The music is being played. Then all of a sudden, somebody, you think about it. When you're playing cards and kids running around, guess what else is going to happen? Somebody is going to want to eat. And so there you go. People are either going out buying food, they're going to buy pizza, or they're going to go to KFC and get some chicken, right? It was either pizza or chicken, right? Or fish, or just just go buy some fish and we'll fry it, right? Pizza, chicken, and fish. And kids running around and music is being played. And the Isley Brothers, Between the Sheets would come on, right? And if you know my story, then you know that I was the kid that didn't go outside, not like that. Like I stayed around the adults, standing up at the card table, watching them play cards. And every now and then, I probably would run outside and play, depending on if they were outside playing a game I wanted to play, such as, freeze tag or hide and go see, You know what I'm saying? Or they wanted to, walk around the neighborhood or what have you. I probably would go do that. But you better believe, for the most part, I'm standing up, beside, my mom, pretty much rooting for her, to take everybody's money. Well, you know what I'm saying, to win the money. Because I know that if she win the money, all I have to do is ask her for some. Because see, she can't tell me she don't have any, because I see the money that she's putting up under her, putting over there beside her on the table, right? So I know she can't tell me. And if I stand there long enough and she got a big enough stack of money, over there on the table, then all I have to say is, "Ooh, mom, can I have $1 or two? Because I want to go get me a drink of this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah." You know what I'm saying? Like, money is at the table. So therefore, nobody can tell me they don't have any. And the next thing I know, maybe my aunt or uncle or one of my mama friends be like, "Here, you can have it." Right? Or if they want me to go across the street, to the convenience store, to break to get change, for get some ones, you know, hey, I go, but I got to get a bag of chips. But music would be playing. And one song in particular, as I said, would be The Eyes of Blood Between the Sheets. Now, as a child, there's one song, there are certain songs in particular, I know exactly what it's talking about. I know. I know what the song is about. It's about what it's about. It's about what it's about. Like I knew that Between the Sheets was definitely about knocking boots. As a kid, I knew that that song was adult content. You understand what I'm saying? I knew that it was what it was about. Do you understand what I'm saying? And there I am as the song is being played. I'm feeling uncomfortable as a child because I'm saying, like, they listening to this right here while I am at the table. And I mind you, there's smoking, there's drinking, this, that, and the other. It's adult conversation going on. Then you got an adult music in the background. Like, I'm around all this adultness. And yet, nobody's telling me to shoot. But I already done figured out now. I done figured out why they didn't tell me to shoot. When I said shoot, go on. They didn't tell me that. Because they was using me. They was using me to go to be the gopher. That's what I was. Go grab me, drink out that cool over there. You know what I'm saying? Go over there to the store and give me some money, or something. That's why they didn't tell me, to get away from them. Because mind you, I'm the only child standing there. Everybody else is, outside. So it was that song. There was another song that I was like, oh my gosh, like, I just know this song just made me feel so dirty. Uh, and I was like, nobody told me to leave when the song came on. But I was like, I just can't stand here. You want me to stand here? And nobody ain't telling me, like, I wanted to leave. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wanted to leave, when this song came on. And it was a song by this blues artist by the name of Marvin Cease. Marvin Cease. Sease. Marvin Cease. I think the song came out in the mid 80s. The song was called Candy Liquor. Licker, not liquor, the drink. I'm Southern. Liquor, right? Candy Liquor. I was like, oh my gosh, like, are y'all really gonna still let me stand up here? And why y'all like for that song, Candy Liquor? Ooh, I think I probably need to say which one is the better song, because at the end of the Isley Brothers song Between the Sheets, when he's talking about coming on strong, I like the way you release me. I like the way you receive me. Like, when he's saying that and I'm a kid, I know exactly what he's talking about for some reason, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh. Hey, I'm not exaggerating, I'm telling you. And it's the same thing with the song by Marvin Cease. Look it up. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Candy Liquor. I was like, oh my gosh, like I know what this song is about. Like the lady is, she's doing her moans and groans at the end of the song. So I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe these people are letting me stand up here. Then there was another artist. I was like, oh my gosh, like I just can't do it. I just can't like I'm like, Mom, like y'all. I want to tell them to change it. Her name, Millie Jackson. Like Millie Jackson had this album called, I don't know the album. I know what the album is. She's sitting on the toilet and she's taking off her underwear. And the album is called Back to the Ish. And Millie Jackson was just, I mean, her mouth was filled. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going somewhere. Just bear with me now. I told you I'm going somewhere. So I was saying to myself, I was like, this here is like, what? What? It's like, what? Whoa. And so there is a part of the Isley brothers, and now this is where I'm going. This is where I'm going now. If I had to ask a question at this, because I've got two questions in. The first question is there a song that Ron, I'm asking the Isley brothers, is there a song out there that you would just basically say, hey, I'm not singing it, or that you turned it down? How do you approach your song as far as how you're going to, what song you're going to release? How do you know that? Is it you? Is it more of a collaborative effort, with record companies, so on and so forth? How how did you guys do that? Okay. The next question would be, okay, well, not the next question, but the next part I want to bring up as it relates to the Isley brothers. Now we're going to talk about the adultness of the lyrics. Of the lyrics. Now, say what you want to. It's me, it's my show. So I can approach my show the way I want to approach my show. I can do that because you know what? I'm talking about the Isley brothers. And if you are still with me at this moment in time, and you should be, and if you're still with me at this moment in time, here's what I'm going to say. Thank you. All right. Because now, and if you haven't hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the share button, let the Isley brothers know we're talking about them over here. They are my guests. Let Angela Wimbush, this is when you can get Angela Wimbush on the phone again and tell her, say, hey, Peppy is talking about you over here. Come and listen to what he has to say. Chime in, chime in. It seems as if to me that Between the Sheets album brought in what we would probably consider to be, to me, this is my opinion, them being responsible for the babies being born. If it wasn't before that, definitely in 1983, the flagship goes to them, right? I can see young people, old people, everybody probably talking about the Isley Brothers album Between the Sheets. And I can see how that album could definitely be controversial, right? It's just what it is. Okay. And so let's talk about Between the Sheets real quick, the album that was released in 1983. All right. Between the Sheets is the 22nd album released by the Isley Brothers, okay? And the tracks that came out from that album was Choosy Lover and Touch Me, okay? So it says here the Isley Brothers recorded songs for the album to react to disappointing sales of their albums Inside You and the Real Deal albums that failed to sell and produce no hit singles. The group returned to uh, Bearsville Studios in November 1982 to work on the album. Like previous albums, all the instrumentation and composition was handled by Chris Jasper, Ernie Isley, and younger brother Marvin. I didn't know that. So Marvin Isley, I just said it was Ernie and Chris, but it says here, see, it depends on what you read and who you talk to, because now what I'm getting here is that Marvin, you know, did some writing as well. Some songs were initially devised as songs for a splinter project the trio was working on. Eventually, however, lead singer Ronald Isaac saw interest in a few of the tracks, including the title song. All right, which was composed by the trio of Jasper and the younger Isley brothers in response to Marvin Gaye's hit, uh, I would say sensual healing. Sensual healing. You got to be mindful of what you say here. Adding additional composition, Ronald helped to compose Choosy Lover with the younger brothers with the melody based on Earth, Wind, and Fire's Devotion. Other songs reflected on social commentary, including Slow Down Children, aimed at inner city youth, and the anti war song Ballad for the Fallen Soldier. Much like the real deal, Jasper and the other Isley began adding background vocals to the tracks, whereas in previous Isley records, the vocals had been handled primarily by Ronald and older brothers Kelly and Rudolph. Lead vocals in some songs were often shared by one or two other brothers. However, most of the album was vocally led by Ronald. All right. So this album, and I'm not quite sure about the sales. The album was number one on the R&B charts, and it went to number 19 on the pop charts. Uh, Singles such as "Between the Sheets" was number three, and "Choosy Lover" number six. And this album has been sampled by a lot of people. This album has been okay, but I'm not quite sure about album sales. I know for sure the album is probably definitely gold. I'm willing to bank that it's probably platinum as well. But anywho, um, so this album to me is what I want to talk about, because it seemed to me to be this is a part of the Isley Brothers' career where we talk about them being responsible for the population. I would like to say the Between the Sheets album is the one that started it. I'm not going to say the other songs didn't, but okay, I'll put it this way. How about this? The lyrical content changed. They became more. Oh gosh, do I want to use that word? Do I want to use that word? Do I want to use that word? I'm thinking. Well, let's just say sensual. I don't want to. I don't want. I didn't think so. I didn't. I didn't want to. I didn't want to. Yeah, I didn't. I'm glad I didn't use that word. Yeah, I want to use that word. Let's just say it became more sensual, or sex, if you will, to me. Like it kind of. I'm not gonna say raised the bar, but it raised the bar. Like okay, I put it this way. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. And so this here, the lyrical content, it changes. When you think about a choosy lover. Now, believe it or not, let me say it this way: some of my favorite songs on this album, believe it or not, is not Between the Sheets. It's not. My favorite songs on this album would be "Touch Me." I love "Touch Me." I love "I Need Your Body." And I love the song "Getting Over." All the other songs I can and can't do without. But for the most part, uh, those are the songs that if I listen to it, I have to play it. But the album is a good album. The Between the Sheets album, I don't know, it's just good. But I can't explain why it's better. I think it's the instrumentation. I think you can easily say that since the album is their first one, uh, well, no, not the real deal. It's like they kind of updated their sound, so to speak. I would put it to you that way, and that's the reason why I like that album so much. But they're definitely singing about a lot of sex, if you will. Now it's front and center. You don't have to question it anymore. You get the feeling that you know what is going on. And so now what I want to do is I want to talk about now, if you will. I want to talk about now. I want to talk about now. I want to talk about Angela Wimbush. All right. I told you we was gonna do that. Okay. An hour and 10 minutes in. I don't know how long this video is gonna be, and I'm not concerned about it. Maybe I should be. Okay, hopefully I can finish this in 30 minutes. Okay. But here, what you have here to me is that now that the Isley brothers have gone, the 3 plus 3, 3 in one direction, the other 3 in another direction. Okay, we don't need to get into the spiel of all of that. But what I will say is that Angela picked up where, let's just say, Ernie and Chris left off. And we could put Marvin in there too, where they left off. Picked up where they left off. Now, I haven't heard, maybe a little bit, but not a lot, of the album, the Masterpiece album. I haven't. Maybe I need to go back and listen to it just to listen to it. But I haven't. Now, I've heard the song May I. I've heard the song May I because that song May I believe is on an album that I have by the Isley Brothers. Let me see. I want to make sure. And that's the reason why I know the song. It's on an album I have of the Isley Brothers. And the album is called, I'm trying to look and see if the song is on here before I say the name of the album. Yes, I have an album by the Isley Brothers called Bedroom Classics Volume 3, and May I is on that album. And that's why I know I've heard the album May I. There's another song on the album called Come to Me. I know that album because Robert Brookins re-recorded that song for his album. Robert Brookins did Come to Me. And that's how I know that song. Okay. And it's a pretty decent song. But I say that Angela Wimbush picked up where Marvin, Ernie, and let's just say Chris left off. Now, let me talk about Angela Wimbush, okay? And I'm talking about her in a way in which I've never talked about her before as it relates to the Isley Brothers. As I said, I'm doing a different approach over here. Whew. 3 songs stand out. 3 songs stand out in 1987. I remember as a child going somewhere with my mother, and these 3 songs would definitely be played. They would be on her cassette, and they would be played whenever I'm in the car. And the songs would be Princess Adore, Stephanie Mills, I Feel Good All Over, and the Isley Brothers, Smooth Sailing. These 3 songs I would definitely hear in my mother's car. There would be other music as well, but uh, those stand out to me because when I heard them, I liked them. I eventually got around to hearing the entire Smooth Selling album. All right. One day I looked up and there it was. It was in my house. The album was. I played it. I was like, okay, I like this. I like every song on the Smooth Selling album. Every song. I don't know anything about Angela Winbush as it relates to the Isley Brothers at this moment in time. I don't. Because as I said, I am a child. Enjoying music. I'm liking music, but just follow with me. I'm going somewhere. And I love the album. And and when I listen, or rather, excuse me, not listen, when I would sing the album, I mean, sing the song Smooth Sailing, it's something about the lyrics to me. Something about the lyrics. I'm not going to say all of them, but I want you to just listen. Every single heartache will be kissed and loved away. At my desire's height, the body will obey. Lay your hands on me, girl, touch my burning sand. Let your waters calm me. Your wish is my command. It's at this moment in time, if Chris Jasper would have said that, Ron lacked confidence, right? When with approaching certain songs, right? Basically meaning that you had to really, get it out of him. You know what I'm saying, so to speak. Um, hmm. Then, as a person on the outside looking in, I'm saying to myself, like, man, Ron Isley is a straight up PIMP. It's at this moment in time, I'm thinking in my head, I'm saying to myself, like, man, like, listen to what he's saying. Every single heartache will be kissed and love away. At my desire's height, the body will obey. Lay your hands on me, girl. Touch my burning sand. Let your waters calm me. Your wish is my command. Listen, lay your hands on me, girl. Touch my burning sand. Like, just think about that for a minute. Because in my head, I'm thinking about burning sand. And I'm thinking about the water, the tide coming in. And as it comes in, it's cooling down the water. You know what I'm saying? And then for you to say, your wish is my command. Like this, this here is straight up pimp talk. You know what I'm saying? Like this is a man's man. Like this here, to me, now I'm saying to myself, I am now, because at first I'm listening to it because I'm like, okay, footsteps in the dark. Like, like the song Groove With You. When I think about Groove With You and think about Smooth Selling, I'm saying to myself, these songs are very similar. Groove With You and Smooth Selling. If I could just say a little bit, hold on, Groove With You. What is it? I've been thinking of you, you've been thinking of me, right? Hold on. So, grow with you. I've been thinking of you, and you've been thinking of me. I give all that I have if you'll give all that I need. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just, to me at this moment in time, what I'm thinking and what I'm getting from this is that I would mind, and this is just me, saying these things to my significant other. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't mind at all. Like at this moment in time, you know, and I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. It might. Oh my gosh, I almost lost my train of thought. I wouldn't feel bad at all if someone found out that this is where I got it from. Like, these, the way these lyrics, and I'm just gonna say it. These lyrics to me, when I now think about the Isley brothers, like across the board, because as I said before, I'm not appreciating the Isley brothers at this moment in time for their lyrical content. I'm not. As I said, I'm thinking about, oh, do I like this song? The song sound good. Oh, okay, the song sound good. Okay, I can jam to it. You know what I'm saying? I can party to it. It's a nice slow song. It's so on and so forth, right? But it's 1987, and Smooth Selling has come out, and I'm saying to myself, like, man, did you just hear? Did you touch my burning sand? Let your waters come me, your wishes my command. Then it says, let my lips caress the deepest portals of your soul. Feel the fire I possess. I gotta let you know. Do you understand the words that are coming from the pen right about now? And the pen is Angela Winbush's pen. Do you understand what this woman is saying? And then when I go back to groove with you, I'm saying to myself, do you get it? Like, like if you say these lyrics, I just want you all to understand something. I hope that you're still sticking around with me. I hope that you understand this. If you don't understand anything else, the way in which this is worded, if you say this to a person, right? Let's just say if you say this to your significant other, at one moment in time, I can see the person stopping the recipient of it and drawn into it. Like, man, this is some good stuff you're saying to me right now. But as you're saying it, and then it's finally, resonating with you, you're finally, getting it and understanding it, what's taking place, it almost makes you feel intimidated. To hear it makes you feel good, but then to understand what's about to take place, it's almost like, man, I'm a tad bit intimidated because what? Because I'm thinking about I'm thinking about Angela Winbush, okay, you guys, and I'm thinking about a song from one of her albums. And the song from one of her albums is called it's a song called "I'm the Kind of Woman." All right, she says in this song, "Ecstasy and pleasure, I'll give you beyond a measure." Hold on, let me see. Hold on. I don't see it. I don't. These songs lyrics are coming to me. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. I know it's ecstasy. Hold on. Ecstasy and pleasure, I give you beyond measure. Give me my propers that's due. Do you understand? I'll be true to the heartbeat with the love that's so sweet. I give you everything that I got. Oh my gosh. So that's what I where I'm going with this right now is what I'm thinking about, like I said, the lyrics. It's the lyrics at this moment in time, y'all. That's what I'm thinking about. Straight up lyrics. And what is happening with these songs, and what they're talking about and what they're saying. And it's kind of like I'm saying, like it's as I said, it's these are not dull lyrics. They're not. Yeah, it almost makes you think that they're kind of simplistic, but at the same time, oh my gosh, it's just jam packed of everything. But let me keep moving because I want to wrap this up. I don't want this to be a 2 hour video, no more than a 2 hour video. I recall Angela saying in an interview once that she had got a spanking by her mom because she was writing a song at an age at a young age that her mom felt like she was being too grown. And I'm reading these lyrics now, and I'm saying to myself, "You think, Angela? You think? Do you really think?" Okay, but so it's the Smooth Selling album, and I'm loving it. I'm loving the song on the album too that's called "Send a Message." It was definitely a song, and I felt at that moment in time it had a religious feel to it as well. Send a message to my brother. Like I always, when I heard that song, I already always felt the spiritual content of the album. And my favorite song, believe it or not, on the album is not it's not Smooth Sailing. My favorite song on the album is actually Somebody I Used to Know. If I am going to listen to the Smooth Sailing album, I'm definitely going to listen to the song Somebody I Used to Know. I got to listen to it. I do. Another song I like on the album too is called It Takes a Good Woman. I love that song as well. And when, we talk about the neck, she's the neck that turns my head. And he likes the way she runs her nails up and down my thighs. I'm like, okay, okay. It is what it is, Ron. Right? It is what it is, Ron. But I'm still not making an Angela Winbush connection, though. I know it's her, but I am not making an Angela Winbush connection. It's just not. I'm not making an Angela Winbush connection until the Smooth Selling album. All right, not the Smooth Selling album, but the Spend the Night album. Now I recall, and if you follow me, then you already know how I made this Isley brother Angela Winbush connection. Okay, it was 1989, and there were some songs that were coming out at the time that I was really and truly liking, like I was loving them. And I still do today. With the same amount of love that I had in the beginning, it's still just as strong as today. And that was Stephanie Mills, Something in the Way You Make Me Feel. When I think I love the song, but the video is awesome. I love Something in the Way You Make Me Feel, the video. I mean, Stephanie Mills looks good. I mean, as a matter of fact, I don't know if anyone has ever gotten uh, the J.C. Penney catalog. Okay, I don't know why I'm making this connection, but the J.C. Penney catalog. I remember the J.C. Penney catalog, and there were some other books, clothing books that my mom would have, or my grandmother would have, and in that video, and someone would probably say, "Okay, now you are putting Stephanie Mills in a J.C. Penney catalog." This is the only thing I could say, connection. I'm a child. And to me, the women in these magazines, the way they was dressed and so on and so forth. It's another magazine I can't remember, but back then. But Stephanie Mills looked like she was one of those women, one of those models in those magazines. Her dress, her style, the way she wore her hair, she just looked so sophisticated. You know what I'm saying? Like in that video, to me, I'm not thinking about whether or not the attire that she has on is expensive or not. I'm not thinking the attire that she has on in the video is designer or anything like that. All I know is that her look in that video, like her hair, I mean her hair, her I hate to objectify, but her body, her makeup, like everything, like how she's styled, the video, and everything, the props, everything. Like I am telling you, like Stephanie Mills' video for Something in the Way You Make Me Feel is like top notch. I love that video. And then liking the video the way I did only just made me like the song even more, right? So that song come out. The next thing I know is that I'm listening to the radio, and of course, the Isley Brothers Spend the Night comes out. I'm like, man, I like this too. This is a good song, but there's something about Spend the Night that is different as to the reason why I like it. There's something about this song that is drawing me to it. It's hypnotic in a roundabout sort of way. It's hypnotic. It's captivating. Like it's something about it that just that kind of pulls me into this song, and I don't know what it is. But at this moment in time, I'm getting older. I'm older now, preteen. Okay, I know what this song is about, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, this is a good song, but why do I like this song so much? Why? And this is a part of the Isley brothers' story that I don't think gets told a lot. Matter of fact, no one touches on this part of the Isley brother at all. No one. I'm going to talk about it today. And that is Angela Wimbush in those background vocals. Oh my gosh. That's what I love about this song so much. It's her. It's that keyboard. You know what I'm saying? It's something about her that just is pulling me, to her. I mean, I, I I can't explain it. And so then, of course, Angela comes out with her song, It's the Real Thing. And when I eventually get to the point where I am Now I'm discovering that there's a record store. I'm looking at videos and I know that there's music out there, but I'm not thinking about how people are getting their music. I really am not. Like I know that there's a cassette and I can take a cassette and I can put it into the radio and I can record my music from the radio. I'm not asking for any albums from anybody. But when I discovered there was a record store, it was over. Because at that moment in time, any money that I got, I was at the record store. If anybody asked me if anything that I wanted, so on and so forth, I was like, hey, I want to get this record. I saw the video, I liked the song, buy the record. And then when I discovered that I didn't have to get the record, I could buy a single. I was like, oh my gosh, though you ain't even got to get me the record. Just buy me the single. That single is $1 and some odd cent. That single is $2 or whatever. Oh yeah, I'm about to rack up in singles. But anyway, so there you have it. Angela Winbush with those background vocals. But I'm still not making the connection because I don't know that's Angela. I don't know. I just know I like the song. I don't know that's Angela's production with Something in the Way You Make Me Feel. I don't know any of this. I know I'm liking these songs. And I know Angela Winbush has It's the Real Thing out. And I'm like, I'm liking this song. But when I start to get the music and I'm looking, I'm like, wait a minute. And I'm reading the credits and I discovered Angela Winbush. I was like, oh my gosh. So then I went back and I said, oh, she's on the smooth. That's her smooth Sailin. I was like, oh, okay. And then I look up one day and a video premiered. It was Angela Winbush and Ronald Isley with Lay Your Troubles Down. I said, what? I was like, huh? And that's when it hit me. It hit me. It hit me. I was able to put it all together. I put it all together then. I was like, no wonder the background vocals are so hypnotic on this album. No wonder. No wonder I feel like I'm being pulled in. I was like, she's singing to her man. That's what this is. This woman is singing to him. She knows exactly what she's doing. I'm just feeling the results of it. You know what I'm saying? Like she knows exactly what she's doing. She's singing to her man. And that, my friend, my friends, when I think about a part of the Isley Brothers music, the catalog that we could miss as well would be Angela Winbush, not only as her writing and her production skills, but the fact that those background vocals that she contributes to an Isley Brothers project are unlike any other. Do you understand what I'm saying to you, man? It's her background vocals. I was like, I get it now. And it continues. And so I came across a something that Angela Winbush had said that made sense to me. Because I would be the one who would say when I found out that Spend the Night and Something in the Way You Make Me Feel were all from her pen, right? And it was her, writing and producing. I would say to myself, I was like, well, why did she? Those songs I would have kept for myself. I would never. Like, why would I give those songs up? But what I heard her say, especially when it came to, writing for, the Isley Brothers, her approach was this. These are things that what I'm writing, the lyrical content is what I will probably want a guy to say to me. I was like, oh. So then Angela, I would say, is the pimp. Angela is straight pimping. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that's why I'm saying to myself, like, this stuff is good. That's why I'm saying to myself, like, why I'm like, oh my gosh, like these lyrics. Listen to me. Listen to what she says, and you'll never walk alone. Stay, make love to me. We've been doing it without it far too long. Baby, what? Listen, listen. Hold on. Hold on. I hope you're sticking around with me. Hold on. Did she just say, listen, listen to what she's, I'm going to repeat it. Stay, make love to me. We've been doing it without it far too long. Baby, like it's different than you just basically saying, hey, you want to do it? I think I'm going to go and read these lyrics again. I might, but I might use some of these lyrics and I'm going to let you know if they really worked. Listen, listen to this. I know you're craving the kind of passion I really understand. But what? I know your secrets and what you like. Like your fire, I know where to strike. Baby, I'm looking for something else. Hold on. Ooh, I got the rap. This is going to be a long video, but it is what it is. Lay here next to me, wet with morning dew, girl. Oh, girl, don't stop now. It might be so wrong. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. Let's. I got to wrap this up in 15 minutes. I got 15 minutes. I'm not gonna do this for no 3 hours. But I guess basically that's what I want to talk about. So here is now a question. A question now that I would ask. And now, since it's a Father's Day celebration, right? The question that I would ask now, how very inappropriate it is to ask this question, but I'm going to ask it. And this is going to be to the Isley brothers, children, okay? Their children, all right? Oh, Lord. I don't believe I'm about to ask this question. All right, brothers, children. Have you ever listened to your father's music or your grandfather's music? I don't know how old the people are, or your uncle's music while you was getting your groove on. Oh Lord have mercy! I don't believe I asked that question, but I did. In my head, I'm saying to myself, like, "Ugh, that is so disgusting," right? To me, in my head, I'm like, "No." But you have to ask the question, right? To see, you don't have to answer it. To me, it will be a major turnoff. There's just no way I could see myself ever doing it if I had a parent that was a singer, you know, even a relative for that moment in time. No, 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 no way. But hey, it's a question worth asking. And so at this moment in time, what we have here now is that we have what I would consider to be the sensual, sexual part of the Isley brothers that maybe was always present, but for me, this is when it really starts to, come to the forefront for me, coming from, a child into preteens, and then all the way up to my young adult, in adult age, and so on and so forth, right? And we definitely, the industry definitely doesn't give a lot of credit at all, to Angela Winbush as far as her contributions, within the Isley Brothers catalog, but she's definitely, kept this group, relevant, you know, at a time where, things, seem to be, kind of unsure for them at times, as far as a career direction, in music and everything. So great album, great album. Those background vocals, Angela, definitely, are great. And so for this album, the Tracks of Life album. Now I'm going to prove my point here with this album as it relates to Angela Winbush. When I first heard this album, I was saying to myself when I first heard it, I heard the song. I think it's called "Sensitive Lover." It's "Sensitive Lover." When I heard the song, I said, "Oh, here we go again. They're trying to do Smooth Sailing, Spend the Night all over again." And here's the thing: I like the song. I do. But for me, this is just me personally. I feel like the song didn't hit the way it could have hit. Is because Angela Winbush's vocals are not there. I think it's something that I don't think we pay attention to when it comes to the Isley brothers, because you have to understand we are becoming accustomed to certain things that we probably don't necessarily pay attention to. And I think it's those vocals. I think it's Angela Winbush's background vocals again, where, it's missing. Her presence vocally is definitely missing off of this album, uh, uh, Tracks of Life. And when she does show up on this album, when she shows up, you know, she is basically, showing up where she left off with Spend the Night. Because I love songs like Bedroom Eyes, Whatever Turns You On, are definitely those songs. I'm like, hey, it is what it is. Like this album, Tracks of Life, and I think I know. This is my opinion about this album. I think I know probably what happened with this album. Somehow or another, I get the feeling that maybe they was trying to expand the sound, expand the audience, trying to get more of a pop type feel with this album, and I just think that they fell short. Uh, in that they should have leaned more heavily on Angela background vocals, and I don't know why. But pay attention to this album. Go back and listen to it, and listen to the Smooth Selling album, and you can see, like, he might, Peppy, you might be onto something that no one never really thought about, and it's definitely missing. Like, there's a song called Red Hot, and it almost makes me want to like the song. I almost want to like the song Red Hot, but then I'm listening to the song and I'm saying to myself, like, there's just something about, and I think it's Jesse Powell, and he's no longer with us. Uh, Great artist, but Jesse Powell, I'm saying to myself, like, it's something about his vocals on that song that is not matching up with Ronald. And if you think about it, hmm, wow, wow, I didn't think about that. When I think about the song "Touch Me," because it's a song that I like off the Between the Sheets album, I'm not quite sure. Is that Rudolph? Who is that? O'Kelly? Somebody background vocals is on that, and I don't think it's Ronald. But it seems as if those vocals on that song complements Ronald's vocals, and I just think that with um, Jesse Powell, his vocals, background vocals, just don't complement Ronald. Like, but for whatever reason, Angela does, the other brothers' background vocals did, but there's just something so uneven about this album. Tracks of Life. Uh, Even with Morning Love, like, I think they tried to do that pop sound. I really do. I think they tried to do that pop sound, and it's what it is. And I'm going to speed up through because I'm not trying to be here much longer. I'm about to hit the 2 hour mark. And the same thing with the Mission to Please album. The Missions to Please album, I was like, I remember this. I'm going very quickly because I'm trying to squeeze everything in. I remember, I think it was Good Morning America. I woke up one day, I was watching Good Morning America, and there it was. All right. I look up and I see the Isley Brothers. And I was like, oh, the Isley Brothers. And they had a new album, out, and I was like, oh. And of course, there's Angela, she's, back there, doing the vocals and everything. And I was like, wow. I was like, I got to get it. I got to get it. The Isley Brothers have a new album out. And of course, I get it. I played the album, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much, thank you, thank you, thank you." And I kept saying it over and over again when I was listening to this album, because Angela Winbush's background vocals are all over this album. And I am so glad whoever made the decision, and they definitely had to have made the decision to say, wait a minute, we might want to have Angela do all the background vocals here. Because when I hear the Tracks of Life album, I'm saying they missed it. I think the Tracks of Life album would have been a great album if they had relied on Angela to do the background vocals on that album, because something is so missing, because the material is good. It's not that the material is good. And I think the the Mission to Please album picked up where the the Mission to Please album picked up where the Tracks of Life album actually failed, right? It seems as if they updated the sound. It seems as if, and I don't know why they did this. If they wanted to do it, that's fine. I don't think it was a big deal. They brought in additional production people to come in and assist with the writing and with the production, and and that's cool and that's fine. It's wonderful. And that, like, as I said, I don't think that there was anything wrong with that per se, as much as it was the fact that you know uh, again, Angela, she's pretty much present in the writing, which I like. She's present with the writing, she's present with the production, and she's also present with the background vocals. And it seems as if they, for whatever reason, with the Tracks of Life album, kind of, you know, kind of like, I'm not gonna say set this one out. Oh, well, I ain't gonna say set it out. Kind of, don't have as much involvement. Like I just get the feeling that she was downplayed a lot with the Tracks of Life album. Angela was. Okay. And the same thing goes for um um uh um the Isley Brothers Eternal album. When I heard the Eternal album, I feel the same way. Now, this is me. First of all, I want to ask a question. I have a question to ask. The lady in this picture, the lady in this picture, the legs, the lady in the picture in the maid's uniform. This is just my opinion. I can't prove it for a fact. I believe that I am right when I say this. It is what it is. That's Angela. I don't care what anyone says. I got a feeling Angela is definitely the lady in this picture in front of Ron. I really and truly do believe that, but that's just my opinion. It is what it is. No one has never ever brought that question up. I want to know. I've always wanted to know if it was Angela. The reason why I say I think it's Angela is because the way in which she's standing in the picture, because on Angela, the Real Thing album cover, there's a picture of Angela where she has the same kind of stand, but she's standing that way, but it's on the piano bench. That's why I'm like, I think that's Angela. I just think that's Angela. That's all I'm saying. So that's my question right there for Ron. Is this Angela? I think the same thing about this album. For whatever reason, I cannot get into this album. I know it was probably one of their albums where they once again came back top notch in the sales was definitely there. I'm pretty sure they got a lot of praise. It was definitely a big album for them. Number one on the R&B charts, number three on the pop charts, a platinum seller, and everything. And it's wonderful. It's great. A lot of people came in and made this album, what it was. But again, I just felt as if, that's all it was. This is just me. This is just me. I just felt like the album was just a bunch of hype versus um, the production. And I felt as if Angela, her presence was definitely missed on this album. But of course, as you know, this is when I think as soon as this album was released, I think they were pretty much headed towards Splitsville. That's I put it this way, and so it is what it is. I don't know who decided to minimize Angela's involvement with this album. I do recall Ronald saying in an interview that the song on there called "Warm Summer Night" was a song that was intended for Angela Winbush's album, and that he had borrowed it back from her, and he wanted to do it. And so, it is what it is. So it's what it is at this moment in time. I think I'm in a good place to stop, right here, because I think I pretty much tackled everything that I wanted to tackle for the most part with the Isley Brothers. Because, as I said, I wanted to approach this differently. I wanted to approach this um, Father's Day edition with the Isley Brothers from a place where people just normally don't really talk about the Isley Brothers. I think again, they are a controversial group. Uh, with they had their moment in time of being a controversial group with the songs like "Fight the Power." Um, very influential with you know the population, and that, they're responsible, for a lot of babies being born, and everything. I didn't want to really and truly talk about R. Kelly, not because I didn't want to. and that it wasn't important to talk about. But I will say this as it relates to R. Kelly. Yeah, I say this. I think I'm at a place where it's not going to be a 3 hour video. I can wrap up. But for those of you who probably would say, well, you didn't talk about R. Kelly, what would I say about R. Kelly and his contributions to the Isley Brothers? And maybe I will talk about those albums. Who knows? We got, we got time. We got the Father's Day is Sunday. But what I would say about R. Kelly, in my opinion, as his contributions to the Isley Brothers catalog, my opinion is I just felt like what he brought to uh, the Isley Brothers, and I'm talking about after the Eternal album. I'm not talking about anything before that. But for the Body Kiss album, I just felt like this is me. That entire album felt like to me that R. Kelly gave the Isley Brothers songs that were songs that did not make other albums by R. Kelly or other artists, that they probably presented it to. I just felt like the Body Kiss album was an album where, he probably said, hey, do you like this song? And because it was an R. Kelly song, I felt as if, oh yeah, we like it. It's a nice song. Yeah, we like it because it was R. Kelly. You know, that's just me. Personally. I don't know. If they came up with any songs in the studio at the time, but it seemed like R. Kelly is definitely the songwriter. Okay, and the producer on this album. You don't see much involvement by Ernie or Ron on this album, and it is what it is. And so there you have it. I just felt like they gave him a lot of rejects, when it came to the Isley Brothers, the Body Kiss album. As it relates to other songs by other albums by the Isley Brothers. Maybe I'll take the time out this weekend and listen to the other albums. But I will say, for me, I have yet for anyone to really produce the Isley Brothers in such a way that captured them from their golden platinum years, with the from 73 to 83. And to capture them the way Angela Winbush captured them from 1987 all the way up to, her involvement to 1996. So there you have it. You have Ernie Isley and Marvin Isley, their 10-year time, 10 years with, the Isley Brothers. And then you have Angela Winbush with her 10-year involvement with the Isley Brothers. And I think they got it. I'm talking about from a musical standpoint. I just feel as if the Mr. Biggs character carried uh, the Isley Brothers while the music really truly fell off. And I know people will probably beg to differ. Oh, people, they really love the music. You know what I'm saying? These albums, they really sold, when after the Eternal album. And yeah, I can't argue with the numbers or anything like that. But when I think about really and truly capturing Ronald, nah, no one has done that yet. So that's just pretty much my opinion and my spiel, my Father's Day edition. Well, I can't believe it's a 2 hour video. I haven't did many 2 hour videos, so I feel pretty much good about this. So anyway, having said all of that, if you made it this far, and I hope that you did, with this particular commentary, then I think it's only appropriate for me to ask you guys to, hang out with me. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys for sticking around. I appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave comments, the share button, all of that stuff. I totally appreciate your support. And my motto over here is very simple. Put your behind where your heart desires to be. And whenever I leave my mother's presence, she always says to me, baby, remember, I love you, but God loves you best. I look forward to seeing you next video. And until then, you know what to do. Take care of yourselves out there. Happy Father's Day to everyone, all the guys out there. And well, see you next video. All right.